I did add another kind of like spicy surprise candidate, and that's CJ Stroud. Okay. And I want you to hear me out before pouring cold water on it. Again, this is impossible dreams tier. CJ Stroud's going into his third year. Amazing first year, offensive rookie of the year. Little bit of a regression last year, 99% of which was attributable to a really bad offensive line. Now you're in your third year, new offensive coordinator, defensive minded head coach. Your trade value for him probably starts to plummet off of a cliff when the fourth year starts, if he's not good. Let's say that there's still that you're still on him after this year. It just doesn't look the way that you want it to look. And by all accounts, this is not going to happen. CJ Stroud is a ball obsessive. He's always in the building. Coaches love him. I mean, I know all this stuff. I can say that as a fact. But if you're Nick Caserio, who has already gotten a massive windfall from trading a quarterback at the height of his market value, and you've seen what it is like to rebuild on the fly and essentially build relevance overnight over the course of one quarterback trade, and you're looking over at the Jaguars, and let's say Trevor Lawrence has a bad season, and you're just thinking, okay, like, am I just going to continue to go down this road, or do I maximize market value right now? Do something totally insane that my fans are going to hate me for, but then I'm right back into the fold on the next draft, or I'm totally armed for the following draft when Arch Manning may not want to leave Texas, Justin. Maybe he loves Texas just like you and wants to stay in the Lone Star State. I don't know. Is that crazy? Probably.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, and that's why it's in the impossible dreams tier. But I think if you put together a bunch of different factors and they all come together exactly perfect, I could see it in an alternate universe. The one we are living in probably won't see it, but in an alternate universe, I could see it. And those factors are, you look at the success or lack of success from some of the recent guys who signed massive deals like this. Trevor Lawrence is the first one that comes to mind. Not that he hasn't had success, or not that he's failed, I guess, but he hasn't had success, right? Daniel Jones definitely failed. Then Kyler Murray is like, we're wondering, do the Cardinals regret paying Kyler Murray? He's on your list here. I'm sure we'll get to him in a bit. And there's a bunch of examples of guys that were sort of mid-tier, on the verge of breaking truly out into the, that top group of guys that just sort of never took that next step. And so if the Texans fear that could be part of CJ Stroud, then there's like the roster construction angle of it. Like, how analytical does Nick Caserio view this roster in the sense of, like, if we get a new quarterback on a rookie deal instead of paying the guy we currently have $60 million a year, could we build a better team around him? And the third factor is the level of talent coming out of college into the NFL with, as you mentioned, guys staying longer, getting more experience, being a little more pro ready. I don't necessarily think that the scouting process has improved that much in terms of being able to identify quarterbacks that will actually succeed. But I think there are more chances, like there's more guys to take a chance on in the current landscape. Obviously, college offenses are getting more complex. College defenses are getting more complex. They're passing the ball. They've always passed the ball a lot, but the number of reps that some of these guys are getting, you look at last year's quarterback class, which had so many guys that came in and were either instant starters or are going to be starters this year. Obviously, the 2025 class wasn't as good, but we're looking ahead to 2026, and there's a lot of exciting names. That's going to become the norm. There's going to be a lot of exciting names. Now, not all of them are going to hit, obviously, but if the Texans look at it as we could take a few shots, year after year, I still think it's crazy to let go of what you truly do believe, I am assuming, is a franchise quarterback.
Right.
But a year can change a lot about how we view these guys.
The other thing that and the reason that I put it in there is because the year of the CJ Stroud draft, they also got Will Anderson. It traded up and got Will Anderson. Will Anderson, I believe, was defensive rookie of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was, right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They pulled the Saints move, offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Didn't
they? Well, it was them and then the Jets, I think, in back-to-back years,
Jets
wasn't it?
Too, yeah.
And so let's say that and again, this is part of the impossible dream scenario, but let's say Stroud is still kind of just, in the middle, or, 21, 22, 23 touchdowns, 12, 13, 14 picks, right in there. And Will Anderson breaks out. And I think, he's a 12 sack guy at his height, I think during his rookie season. Let's say that turns into 15, 16, 17 sacks. The defense, like the edge rusher market, is $41 million a year right now. And Will Anderson and CJ Stroud are going to come up at the same time, in theory, because they were drafted in the same class. What if Caserio is looking at this and saying, okay, I got to give one guy $43 million a year. I got to give another guy $61 million a year. And our highlight over the last 3 years is beating the Chargers in the playoffs with absolutely the team with no receiving help. And then Justin Herbert went completely mad and drunk in that game again, because he had no receiver help. But that's the long and short of it. That's the defining moment of our success. I mean, they beat to death that poor Joe Flacco in that Browns game, but I don't know. That's just part of it for me. This is a financial decision. The Texans aren't one of those, like, they don't strike me as like a spend at all costs franchise. So I don't know. Like, let's just keep it in mind. That's all I'm saying. Don't
keep it in mind. I wouldn't keep it in front of mind, but back of mind.
No, it's like that thing when you go to sleep and you think that you have all your boxes checked for the day, and then your brain doesn't turn off, and you're just about to go down for like a much needed rest, and you're like, what if the Texans trade CJ Stroud for like 2 first-round picks and I don't know, like Kirk Cousins?